It's midnight, and up on the pool deck, the party's still going. Music, a bar that doesn't close. Several decks below, the bartender who will close that bar is halfway through their shift, and a breakfast cook is already asleep because the alarm is set for 4:30. Here's the thing about a cruise ship almost nobody thinks about. It never stops. Not for weather, not for night, not ever. It runs 24 hours a day, which means the 2,000 people running it can't all sleep at night. Somebody always has to be awake. And sleeping down there in the crew decks is nothing like sleeping in a bed on land. It's not a hotel. It's a windowless cabin deep in a steel hull that's moving, while the ship works around the clock on the other side of the wall. So how does anyone actually rest like that for 8 months at a stretch? That's what this is about. There are 3 things going on. First, why a crew member almost never gets a normal night's sleep. Second, how the ship itself is built to keep them asleep while it's moving and never quiet. And third, the part that surprises everyone, a lot of them will tell you they sleep better down there than they ever do at home. By the end of this, you'll understand why. So start with the obvious question. Why can't they just sleep 8 hours like the rest of us? Because the ship runs around the clock, and so do they. Guests are eating, drinking, and being looked after at every hour, so the work gets split into shifts. And for a huge share of the crew, that means a split shift. You're up before 6 for breakfast service, you work through lunch, you get a dead few hours in the afternoon, and then you're back at 5 for dinner, and the late bar until nearly midnight. Look at what that does to sleep. You can't get 8 hours in a row because your day is broken into 2 pieces with a gap in the middle. So your rest gets chopped up, a few hours in the afternoon, a few more after midnight, and your body never fully settles into either one. There are rules built to protect it. Under international maritime law, a crew member has to get at least 10 hours of rest in any 24 and 77 across a week. But 10 hours of rest split across a broken day isn't 10 hours of sleep. It's fragments. And fragmented sleep, night after night, for months, is a very different thing from a real night's rest. Then there's the room. Most crews share a cabin, 2 to a bunk bedroom, on lower interior decks, many with no window or porthole at all. And down there, cut off from daylight, your body loses its grip on time completely. You genuinely cannot tell noon from midnight without checking your phone. When you finally lie down, there's no daylight telling your brain it's night, because for you, it might not be. And here's a detail that catches people off guard. 2 roommates are often on different shifts. One's running breakfast, while the other's running the late bar, so they can share a cabin for months and rarely be asleep in it at the same time. The bunk barely gets cold. The cabin doesn't empty out. It just swaps bodies, like a relay. So that's the schedule. But the schedule is only half of it. Because even when a crew member finally gets to lie down, the place they're lying down in is moving. Out on open water, a ship rolls. It leans to one side, pauses, and swings back. On a cargo ship, a hard roll can throw a sleeping sailor clean out of the bunk. But your cruise ship has something they mostly don't. Stabilizers. Fins that extend from the hull underwater and cut the roll down to almost nothing on a normal day. I've covered how they work. Most nights, you'd barely know the ship was moving at all. And here's the part that surprises people. When the sea does get rough, the cheapest, deepest cabin on the ship can actually be the steadiest place to sleep. A ship rolls around its own center, so the higher and further out you are, the bigger the arc you swing through. A guest in a penthouse suite 15 decks up, right at the top of that swing, feels the motion the most. The crew member in a windowless box low and near the middle of the hull travels through the smallest arc of anyone on board. No balcony, no view, but in a real blow, they can move less than the owner's suite far above them. Then there's the sound. Deep in the ship, the ventilation and machinery put out a constant low hum that travels through the steel. You don't just hear it, you feel it. In the mattress, in your chest. It never stops. And as the ship comes into port, a second sound layers on top. The deep vibration of the bow thrusters kicking in to push the hull sideways against the dock. For the crew, that vibration is basically an alarm clock. It means land, and the busiest shift of the week is about to begin. Everything else runs on the same broken clock. The quick shower in an airplane-sized bathroom, the meal grabbed in the crew mess whenever the break lands, it all happens in the gaps between shifts. Down here, rest isn't a time of day. It's whatever you can take, whenever the ship lets you take it. So, fragmented sleep, no daylight, a moving cabin, a hum that never stops. It sounds like a recipe for exhaustion. Here's the part that gets people. Ask crew who've done this for years whether they sleep worse down there than at home, and a lot of them say the opposite. The first reason is that hum, the industrial white noise that sounds unbearable to a newcomer, becomes the most reliable sleep aid on Earth. It never changes, never surprises you, drowns out everything else, and they're out within seconds of their head hitting the pillow. The second is the motion itself. On a calm night, that gentle roll rocks you the exact way you'd instinctively rock a baby. Crew describe falling asleep faster and deeper than they ever do on land. And the third is the simplest. When a shift ends down there, it's over. No commute, no errands, no phone full of things you're supposed to do. Your friends are 50 feet away in the same corridor. A lot of them go home at the end of a contract, lie down in a still, silent bedroom, and can't sleep at all. It's too quiet. The bed doesn't move. Something feels wrong. So the next time you're up at that midnight buffet, remember what's under your feet. Several decks down, in a windowless cabin, with the hum of the ship coming through the wall, someone is asleep who'll be up and working before your alarm goes off, and who, strange as it sounds, might be sleeping better than you are. Here's my question for you. Could you do it? Split shifts, no daylight, a moving bed, and the same broken clock for 8 months. Yes or no, tell me in the comments. If you learned something today, hit like and subscribe. I'm Larry, and I'll see you on the next one.